Hi, and welcome to A1 Service by Graber & Sons. Today we're going to show you some procedures on how to change the four-way out on an 855 and an 825 Loadmac. We've had some complaints on people that were trying to change these four-way systems out here, and they were not properly tightening the bolts after putting new bearings and etc. in. So today we're going to go focusing mostly on the four-way functions and how to check it if the bearings are bad, and then if the bearings are bad, how to disassemble it and then reassemble with tightening torque sequence. Along with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Levi. Levi, go ahead and step on there, and he's going to go ahead and start it up. We're going to get it in four-way to start the process. This one you also know will have the upgraded system on it where the forks, the carriage has to be back and the forks have to be up. We can actually show you that. Put a little bar right back here. As you see, he's going to go ahead in the four-way mode. It has to be green, that's blinking red, or yellow light here is flashing in you. It means your carriage. Go ahead and leave that. If that noise is going on, you're obviously too high with your mast. It's not sensing the magnetic current, or the carriage is not back far enough. It will not go in the four-way. That's only on the 855. The 825 did not have the safety feature. And the reason for that is so you couldn't run your carriage out and then be in four-way like this here and damage these four-way frames. So now as we got that in, I'm going to go ahead and just do a kind of little walk around here. As you see, the main function is you got a bearing up here in the top, and you also got one underneath the bottom of the cup here. And we got these main bolts here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you got 6 bolts right here. And that's your whole four-way system to take out, to change the bearings, also to put it back in. These two are for the top, I call it a lollipop, the arm for the top bearing, and these bottom ones here are for your cylinder, and this one's for your bottom arm to hold it together, the pivot. This bottom arm plate here is on a pivot adjuster. I'm going to show you the adjustment bolt right there. This here basically pivots on there, which then allows this to come up to take your slop out of your four-way, left and right and up and down slop for adjustment. Along with that, and I'm going to pause the video for a second, we're going to go ahead and take these bolts off, then I'll show you some procedures of things that you might be following through with. Alright, so welcome back to A1 Service. We're now got the four-way stuff apart. I want to show you. So basically, these two bolts here take a socket, and on the back side there is a lock nut with a 24 millimeter wrench that you want to put on the back to hold them, to loosen them off. And then the rest of them are threaded into either the cylinder or a plate in the back side. These 4 right here, so you can just simply thread them off with a 24 millimeter socket. And then what we're going to show you here is how would you then figure out if your bearings are out. Levi, go ahead and show that procedure. As you can see it wobbling there, and then also see the slop up and down when he picks the tire up. If this was all tightened and you had a load on it and you were driving the unit, and you would see these movement functions, tire tilting left or right or up or down slop, then either this has worn off right here, the bolt has lost its torque and needs to retighten that there to push everything together, or then more likely the bearings have gone out. And a lot of guys don't find the grease strips when they're doing the PM service, and I was going to bring that up. Right in there is the grease strip, right clearly right there where my finger is at. Perfect. And then there's also one on the top. You can see that one right there. So don't forget the grease strip. That should be done once a week or every 10 hours around that time frame. So now the other thing is, let's say you've had changed every one of these bearings right here, the top and the bottom on both sides, or one side, however it must be, and you're now going to put it back together. This is one thing a lot of guys don't do. And then if you don't do this procedure, the stop bolt will not be against here, and the cylinder will be always out, and your tire will be on an angle looking like the cylinder's not pushing out far enough. Make so when you're tightening this up that you actually grab a hold of this tire and pull back. I'm going to have Levi do that so you can demonstrate a little better. Levi, go ahead and pull back on the tire. So as you can see, pull towards you, and you can see that moving. It only moves about an inch or two, but you're going to want to make sure you pull that towards you, and then go ahead and tighten these bottom bolts so it holds it there, and then go ahead and tighten the tops. And we put around 120 foot-pounds of torque on all these bolts to seat them in. Another thing I noticed is there's guys don't not put these Nordlock washers on to get little grooves in, and this is what holds your cylinder in on the back side, also part of the plate. If you don't put the lock nut with the Nordlock groove washers, they have a tendency to vibrate themselves loose. So make sure you install them properly as well. Then once it's all together, we're going to pause the video in a second. We'll put it all together. And once it's all together, you're going to want to bring the full ways all the ways in. Make sure all the air is bled out of the new cylinder if you install a cylinder. If not, just bring them all the ways in so the full ways are in time with each other. Then bring them all the ways out. Then we'll want to set this boat that it has a little pressure right on here when it's completely back. That's what holds the cylinders from bleeding off, so you don't have the pigeon toe when you are driving in forward reverse, not in four-way mode. I'm going to pause the video. We're going to tighten this back up real quick, and I'm going to show you the last part of it is kind of like taking this boat and setting that and then making sure everything lines up like it should. All right, so this is now all properly tightened back down to specs around 120 foot-pounds. Now we're going to show you what happens. A lot of people have this boat completely snapped off, broken, missing, or loose. And this is very important to get the final part of this done. This comes up against here, builds pressure before you go out of four-way back to two-way to hold the cylinders from bleeding off. So when you're driving them straight, you don't have the pigeon toe where they want to fall in. I'm going to have Levi fired up, and we're going to show you some demonstrations of that. Make sure your mast and forks are above the wheels when you're bringing them in and out. Okay. So, as you can clearly see, it looks fairly straight. Levi, go ahead and just hit it, and they'll see that tire pigeon toe. Not doing it too bad, as it's brand new bearings. It's not much play in any of the bushings, but if it's a used system, you're going to see that really want to go like that there if you don't have the stop boat. Levi, go ahead and go forward. We'll put that stop boat back in where it belongs. So this we're going to tighten that up there like that. You're going to want about, I would say, right around that inch mark right there in the threads. You can kind of tell. Like I said, if it's out too far, your tire won't be straight. If it's not in at all, your tire's going to want to wobble. So it's just kind of find that thing where it's about straight on the tires when you're out of four-way and you got pressure on this hitting this frame right here, making this little indent mark. So we're back. Four-way, that's kind of a quick go around of properly taking it off, putting it back in. Just to remember those few things is making sure we pull the tire completely back when we're tightening them boats on. Don't forget about your grease zerks, and don't forget about the stop boat. If it's sheared, replace it. If it's not, if it's loose, make sure you space it correctly. You're going to want to see that tire pretty much straight. As you can see, it's straight with the frame. If it's in or if it's way out, that tells me either the boat's missing or the boat's not at the right tightening T-cants. If it's completely out, it would be the boat is out too far. You need to shorten the threads up a little bit on that boat to bring the tire back in. So yeah, I hope that can be of assistance. And we have parts here, and we also have a service center. So feel free to reach out to our service department at terry@arcsecure.us or 260-760-1179 or goloadmac.com. Hopefully it was a very helpful video for you guys. If you have any questions, reach out to us and let us know. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.